We want to learn from you, the American public. We are asking you to share your ideas, thoughts, insights on the essential question, how can we guarantee all Americans can fully participate in and contribute to science and technology? First things first, fix the K-12 education system so they can actually be proficient in science. Fix that first. So occasionally, the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy puts out things they call challenges. And this is generally things that are either open to everybody or they're open to a select group of people. And they're basically asking for your ideas, is the whole thing with here. And I intend to actually submit for this myself here at one point. And this particular challenge that they've put out just recently is open until November 19th. So you got a little over 2 weeks to finish responding. Is the time is now, advancing equity in science and technology ideation challenge. Science and technology must include and benefit all of America. Help make that a reality. We need your insight to transform this nation for the better. And so if you see those hashtags over there online, Sci Equity Challenge and OSTP Time is Now, that would be the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy under the Biden administration putting these things out. And I will link this for you, and I encourage you to give them your thoughts. But I thought it would be interesting to browse what they are actually asking for an answer to and the kinds of things that you can get into with this. And I think it would be quite good. So our question, sharing your ideas is easy. Near the how to enter section. Sharing ideas is easy. Our question is, quote, how can we guarantee all Americans can fully participate in and contribute to science and technology? Okay, I'm just thinking that question, the thing about it is that what do you mean by contribute? What do you mean by participate? In all these different things. Definitions again. Definitions are always interesting. So, all you have to do is click answer to the answer is click the apply for this challenge button and create a login.gov account. If you have any trouble creating a login.gov account, visit the FAQs here. In the submission portal, all the fields on the submission page should be completed following the directions below. You may submit as many ideas as you like, but please only include one idea per entry. So in other words, you can hit this thing and submit many times. We recommend that you copy and paste the text below into another document or open the entry instructions document so that your responses will follow the formatting guidelines. Funny that there's formatting guidelines. Anyway, title. This is yours to choose. Okay. Brief description. In order for your entry to be eligible, you will need to include at least one of these topics codes in this field. Choose as many of them as apply to your ideas. People with disabilities, underrepresented racial and ethnic groups, institutional and academic settings, community-centered research participation and engagement, women and people with gender-expansive identities. Open call, none of the above apply. If you want to suggest a topic related to advancing equity in science and technology that does not fit in the above categories, please use the code idea followed by a 1 to 2 word description. You can copy and paste this line in the brief description field and edit to include the topics you wish to speak to. You do not need to include anything else in this field. So these are the things they want your help with. Can you see where the social justice stuff tends to come into this? Just a touch. Just a touch. I get worried about things. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt because I'm sure there's some people who are going to respond to this and have it not be an issue. But remember what I said in the video about critical race theory being anti-science. The thing is, it's very anti-science because it pushes against all the normative principles of science. And so one of the biggest ones being the issue of universalism, being that anybody can do science and what have you. And so this is interesting because it would appear, at least, that they're trying to keep universalism in mind to help people who are, regardless of whatever background, you can do science. And something I fully agree with, actually. Should be able to do science. And are able to do science, are able to do science generally. So it's curious, is what it is. I don't know what exactly they're looking for, and I would be very. I don't think you can actually see the responses others have given, unlike the public comments in the Federal Register. You can't see the comments on these kinds of things, but it would certainly be interesting to see what people have to say. Um, and I generally frown on the notion of equity because it's going for equal outcomes rather than equal opportunity most of the time when I see the word equity show up. And so I am curious as to what they're after here and how you would have equity in the sciences. I do agree there's disparities in a lot of these things with respect to the geosciences. That's not the issue. The question is whether or not they are the result of intentional discrimination or not. Or even unintentional discrimination. That's a different question. Description, keep it simple. You need to only provide us with enough information to know why this example or idea is something we should learn from. For each answer, please include the header in your response stating the problem. Use up to 3 keywords. You might include keywords on top of your description stating the problem, 1 to 2 sentences clearly describing the challenges, barriers, or unrealized opportunities your idea addresses. For example, high rates of gender and racial harassment in the astronomical sciences has led to the underrepresentation of women of color in this field. Me being me as the scientist that I am, I would want the evidence for that. Outlining the solutions in a paragraph or 2, describe your solution and how it advances equity in science and technology. What is your idea? Is it a program, activity, structural change, resource, idea for collaboration, etc.? You may also think about some of these questions to help guide your thinking. These are not required prompts, but feel free to incorporate them if they help you and clarify your idea. Who is or will be part of implementing the solution? Describe the specific communities, institutions, or regions of focus for your idea. Who is benefiting and how have they benefited? How is the change achieved? What changes occurred? Describe how federal resources are, quote, or will be involved in your idea if applicable. Evaluating success. This administration is committed to decision-making that is based on quantitative or qualitative evidence. We want to know how the idea is or will be successful at advancing equity. Please share any data, metrics, or examples of change that may be relevant. Upload files. If there's anything outside the prompts in the description field you want to share, feel free to upload a separate document. Once you're happy with your entry, check the rules, terms, conditions, and what have you here. So this is an interesting thing, and I'm very curious to see where it's going to go. I'm thinking very much about submitting to, I forgot, no monetary prize, although anyone who participates in the process of it... You get no money for doing this. You get no money for doing this, but if you're helping to advance equity, you're a winner in our book. I hadn't flipped over to this tab. I had no idea it was here. I'd only skimmed through this how to enter section. Oh boy. So let's see, rules. OSTP reserves the right for any reason to modify or close the challenge at any time, and unless otherwise noted, this challenge has been issued to collect insight and is not a competition where prizes will be awarded. Why even have a prizes tab? Why even have a prizes tab? If that's the... Oh, goodness. All users participating agree to the following. Submissions are entirely voluntary, non-confidential, gratuitous, and non-committal. Interesting. Only post materials directly related to the topic or challenge being discussed. Refrain from posting materials that promote services or products unless they directly relate to the topic or challenge. Do not submit any confidential, proprietary, or sensitive information that you do not wish to be made public. Any information provided may be made publicly available or incorporated into future OSTP initiatives. Information submitted to this in response to this notice is subject to disclosure under the Freedom of Information Act. Unless explicitly stated, grammatical error. Submissions are provided in the user's personal capacity and do not represent the views or opinions of people, institutions, employers, or organizations that the user may or may not be associated with in a professional or personal capacity. OSTP is under no obligation to acknowledge, compensate, or provide feedback with respect to any information or materials included in a submission. Users agree to hold OSTP harmless for all legal and administrative claims to include associated expenses that may arise from claims related to their submission or its use. OSTP is not responsible for any claims or complaints from third parties about dispute of ownership regarding ideas, technology, white papers, prototypes, or images in submission. Sponsors retain the right to publish, present, and or otherwise publicize the results of the challenge competition. Judging. Submissions will not be judged as there is no... Again, prizes and judging. Why are there tabs if you're not actually having this be a competition at all? Completed submissions will be reviewed and analyzed by the OSTP policy staff. Ideas will be evaluated and refined by OSTP and or other experts for potential incorporation into OSTP's strategy for advancing equity in science and technology. So in other words, pretty much just an open call to tell OSTP, we want you to do this. That's pretty much what this is. You got to follow some formatting and what have you, but this is pretty much what this is, that you have to follow that. That they just want you to give them some ideas. Just give them some ideas. Give it to them. Just do it. Resources. Time is now a challenge equity instructions PDF. So I'm not going to worry about opening that PDF. I checked it real quick. There's nothing important there. And they blacked out the winners tab. Look at that. Contact form, overview. By almost every here we go. I should have read this first. By almost every measure, the U.S. science, technology, and engineering and mathematics ecosystem is inequitable. It is crucial, again, define what you mean, show me the math here, anyway. It is crucial that everyone be able to participate in and contribute to science and technology because it's the bedrock of new scientific and technological insights. After all, scientific progress depends on people perceiving things that no one has noticed before because they bring different lens, different experiences, different questions, and different passions. Remember, one of the things about the fundamental principles of scientific inquiry is asking a good question. You're not just want to asking random questions because then it's not significant good question. Things like that. And different passions, no. Remember that science is supposed to be disinterested in anything but finding the truth. Different lenses, different experiences can be helpful, but these two things, no. Not necessarily. It's how America remains globally competitive. The United States is home to only 4% of the world's population. To keep leading the world and pioneering the technologies, industries, and jobs of the futures, we need everybody on the team. Did anybody ever hear the thing, a jack of all trades and master of none? The problem is that you do need some people who are actually really, really, really good at different things, and science included in that, and you don't need everybody to be fantastic at science. You need everybody to have basic proficiency in these things, that's for sure, which is why K through 12 is a terrible mess right now, because the K through 12 education system is failing spectacularly in teaching kids math and science. We know this. Things right here. It's the right thing to do. Support for science and technology comes from the federal government, and in a democracy, public resources should be open to and benefit everyone. Okay, for one thing, the U.S. isn't a constitutional representative republic. It isn't a democracy. WhiteHouse.gov, hey? Support for science and technology comes from the federal government. In other words, it comes from taxpayers, by the way. Taxpayers do pay for a lot of federal grants. Thank you very much. There's one of the things that comes is when the federal government puts out a call for proposals and different professors in different parts of the country compete for it, they are competing to get the taxpayer dollars that each agency gets under the budget related to grants and what have you. So no. Support for science and technology doesn't come from the federal government ultimately. It comes from the taxpayer. And is one thing to be and that is why it is a good thing to be invested in what kind of science your government is funding and what kind of science your government agencies are doing, what kind of questions are being asked and answered. We know progress is being made, yet more remains to be done. In July 2021, OSTP launched The Time Is Now, Advancing Equity in Science and Technology, a roundtable series to learn from members of the American public about barriers to equity in... What the heck is a barrier to equity? In the science and technology ecosystem. In these candid discussions, researchers, thought leaders, professional organizations, and community advocates and others diagnosed endemic issues and suggested informed solutions to ensure that all people can equitably participate in and thrive in science and technology. We want to learn from you, the American public. We are asking you to share your ideas, thoughts, insights on the essential question, how can we guarantee all Americans can fully participate in and contribute to science and technology? First things first, fix the K through 12 education system so they can actually be proficient in science. Fix that first. Here's why it matters and how you can help. Your ideas and insights could inspire transformational change across the United States science and technology ecosystem. Given the way this administration's going, I don't like the idea of transformational change because they usually screw things up. You can share examples of programs and initiatives that are already succeeding in advancing equity in science and technology. Not a whole lot of them, to my knowledge, anyway. You can pitch a brand new idea. There's not a whole lot of them, and for one thing, is those kinds of things actually take a very long time anyway, so I kind of doubt they exist. But I could be wrong. You can pitch a brand new idea that could reshape the way science is done in our nation, making it more eminent, equitable, and inclusive. How about excellent? Where is excellent in that? Where is excellent? That is the question I want to know. Where is the excellence in this? Where is demanding the best? Where is the pursuit of the truth? Where are all those things that matter for science and technology development? You can share this Sci-Equity Challenge with someone else to help even more people contribute to the national goal of advancing equity in science and technology. This is not a national goal. This is a Biden administration goal, to be honest. All right, so that's it. I just wanted to point this out that this exists. I will link it, of course, in the description so y'all can have fun with it. And that's it for now. If you liked the video, hit the like button on the way out the door, share the video, comment to the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good jazz, and make sure to pop on over to shiasophia.locals.com and say hello, because this is a fun topic to talk about, and who knows, I may talk more about this on Thursday Thoughts. I haven't decided yet. Till next time, I'm Adrian. I hope you stay curious.